Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the PJ princess herself, Sandy Reevy. Say hi.
Right, at about 4 p.m. in the afternoon.
It is episode 248, April 24th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we have a short week, Tuesday, April 25th, Sun sextile Saturn.
Continue.
And Saturday, April 29th, Mars sextile Uranus.
Nervous yet effective energy.
And no talisman times, but still our talisman of the month. And on the horizon, we have our CWS webinar and May Forecast coming up, as well as our first in-person Back in Action I Can Do It event in Tampa, Florida. And in our house, Sandy and I are back in town and we have some updates. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you.
Hello, PJ Princess.
I know we're doing this on Zoom. I know you're back from Bali, and it looks like I'm the one that has jet lag.
It does look that way, doesn't it?
And I don't. It was just literally like, this was such a self-care afternoon,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not apologetic.
You shouldn't be.
To have hopped in a bathtub of Epsom salts at 3:00 in the afternoon.
That sounds wonderful.
Right? And coming out and going, I just want my PJs.
Yes. Yes, you deserve it.
And I know it's not going to happen much as I move forward, as we go to our house and explain where I'm headed. Yeah.
Yes. So it is episode 248, April 24th. Happy Monday, everybody. Going direct to you all, I have an anonymous message from an Intention Beads retreat saying, this was by far one of my top life experiences.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, really, they are. They're just, it's so interesting that whoever comes, no matter what life situation they're either in or about to approach or just getting out of, the content is so catered to to individuals, right? So it's not like, a whole program about going through grief or, learning to do something more with your business, whatever it is. It's so interesting how astrologically someone's chart kind of helps guide and direct the content in that way.
Right. And, the last two retreats that we have held are both, the one in January was Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Mars is a malefic. And the one in Bali was Saturn, the other malefic. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting that, these two planets are prominent in the sky and they are involved in each one of our natal charts, and they're working with us and sometimes at our odds. Right. If we're having a difficult aspect from one of these malefics. So, going on a retreat with this teaching, always that planet shows up, right? Mm-hmm. It shows up because I'm teaching something that's going on in the sky. And so when you and I prep for this and I do everybody's chart, it's like, yep, it shows up, but it also helps people to identify working through situations, how to discover new ways and tools and skills to use these in a positive, effective way. Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Well, I love that. Yeah. I would know who that was.
So let's go in the transits. It is such a short week. I'm shocked. So the first transit, one of only two, is Tuesday, April 25th, Sun sextile Saturn. Tell us a little bit more about this.
I call this continue, like continue to learn, continue to stay on your course, continue to teach, continue doing what is required of you. Whenever you have a Saturn in there, it says responsibility, seriousness, what you're taking down the long haul, what you're taking down the long road. And Sun here making the sextile, this opportunistic aspect that says, hey, I'm willing and able to do this job. I'm willing and able to commit to this program. So the whole idea of continuing to do something, continuing to build a structure around teaching, learning, and doing what, has been staying on course, right? So, this comes in, twice a year, and this is the second portion of it. We won't get it again until late this year. So.
And we just finished up the Bali retreat, which was all about Saturn. So maybe this, especially for our retreaters that learned so much about that kind of Saturn disciplinary aspect of ourselves, this is a great time to maybe relook at those commitments that we made with Saturn.
Well, to look at them, are you staying on them? Are you working with Saturn? Because if this retreaters are listening, we ask you to commit to something and have a consequence. I've even been telling this to my monthly clients that I've been talking to, was like, commit to something and have a consequence, so that you are directing your own influence into a positive goal. That's going to take a long time. But if you don't do that, Saturn typically wants to, inhibit something or limit something. So it's like, if you do it yourself, then you are still honoring Saturn, who's sitting in the corner of the room if you're having a difficult aspect with him right now.
Being the chaperone.
He's needing to teach you a lesson, and you want to learn.
Yeah. And so Saturday, April 29th, Mars sextile Uranus.
So here we go with nervous yet effective. So here's Mars. We were just talking about Saturn. Saturn is one of the malefics and Mars is the other malefic. They're both making sextile aspects. Mars is making the sextile aspect to Uranus. So it's kind of that, oh gosh, should I do this? I don't know. There's an excitable energy that, you can actually make an offer of your personal contribution to an important situation. It's like, you feel like pushing your energy forward to take care of something, because this thing matters. You matter in this situation, which is so ironic, because looking at the time when I wrote this, months and months ago, that probably what I'm going to be doing on this day was, I didn't expect to do what I'm about to do, which we'll talk about in our house a little bit, of me taking an action to really make a personal contribution to an important situation. Right. That kind of came out of the blue, right? That wasn't expected. So making a compass direction change, that this thing matters. This thing is important to you.
Right. It's a priority.
Yeah. So turn and take action. Yeah.
So in Talisman times, none finished and none upcoming. However, we do have our Talisman of the month for April, and that is the Venus and Taurus Celestial Mala and Bracelet. These talismans affirmations are, I take pride in my value and beauty. Venus is now returning back into Taurus. This is a really wonderful time of noticing our value, noticing our beauty internally and externally. And so this Talisman of the month is on sale only until the end of April. So you only have like one more week to really get this together. So click on that link in the description and head over to our website. let's move on to the horizon, because that's all we have in Talisman times.
Yeah.
And the first thing to note is upcoming this Wednesday, April 26th, is our CWS webinar with Sandy and Susan. They are going to be going over this new eclipse season. I just saw the eclipse when I was in Bali, and it was about like a 75% magnitude, and it was very cool. It was right in the middle of the day, and just a great experience, being on the other side of the world and being able to see something that not all of the Americans could see. Right?
No, we could not, because it's exactly on the other side of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 11:13 p.m. at night, and it was, noonish-ish for you. So, yeah. And I know we didn't think to pack glasses.
I wish I did, because we couldn't look straight at it.
But there were other means that you took to see it. You can talk about that in our house if you want.
Yes, true.
But
So
one of the things that we're going to talk about is, because the eclipse already has started. We're in the eclipse season right now, in between the new moon eclipse and the full moon eclipse, which will be in, May 5th. So, and soon after we had that eclipse is when that SpaceX unmanned,
I heard about it,
broke up in the sky. It took off, and within
billions of dollars. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was so funny because their reaction was, bravo, we learned a lot of information. Right.
I mean, that is a great way to look at it, with all those,
because they didn't know
time and resource.
Right. They didn't know if it was going to work. And then we think about, because it was eclipse, it was the solar eclipse, meaning the moon crossed over the sun. And the Supreme Court went into, we'll talk about this during the webinar, but that the sun, the solar, the male, the authority figures got eclipsed by the moon. And so the abortion pill has not been removed from, the pharmacies yet. So in other words, the women kind of superseded the men, women's rights, women's situation. So that was interesting for me. These are just a few things that we're going to discuss.
Yes. Also, April 29th, we have our monthly forecast. This is going to be for the upcoming month of May. And remember, for the CWS webinar, as well as the CWS forecast, the only place you can get it is on patreon.com. You want to go to patreon.com/chattingwiththestars, all one word. That is where you're going to be able to join in and get the Big Dipper free trial. That is a 7-day free trial where you're going to be able to see and experience all of the things that the Patreon community gets, which is the forecast, the cheat sheets, the webinars, the full webinar library. So head over there and start joining the community. It's great.
Yeah, we're growing. We're excited.
Growing. Also, May 19th through the 21st, Sandy and I will be at the I Can Do It event. This is a Hay House event that it has been so many years since we've been there and in person. So it's going to be a really great experience to get that community back together again.
I mean, this one is a massive, it's Chris Carr, it's Colette Barron-Reed, John Holland, Kyle Gray, Sonia Coquette, Rebecca Campbell, Dr. Brian Weiss, Denise Lynn. It's a massive lineup.
Yeah. Big names.
Yeah. And they're all going to be at one place, together again. Alberto Patolio, I can keep going on and on. I'm just kind of Robert Holden. I'm trying to remember the people that
big favorite of mine.
Right. Yeah, I know. Greg Braden. Just really amazing.
Yeah.
event schedule. Yeah.
So excited. I'll put the link for more information if anyone wants to meet us there at the I Can Do It event.
Yep.
So let's see. Next up is in September. That's going to be our 2023 Greece retreat. We would love to have you there, of course. We only have one spot left, so this is your opportunity to join in. We would love to have you. If you do have any questions, remember you can get a free 15-minute reading. And also it's an opportunity for you to ask questions as well. That link is in the description. Also more information on the website. Also,
now we're full on to Greece.
Yes. And I'm gonna leave the 2024 retreat
schedule
out of the on the horizon for the moment being. And then once it's time to pick back up, but I will keep them in the description just in case anyone wants to remember those dates and times. So let's move into our house. We're already here.
Yeah, we're
clipping. So, well, I'll start off with my updates, and I'll chat about the eclipse too, because I nearly forgot there were so many different things that we did in Bali, not only in the retreat, but also afterwards. I got to go to the Gili Island. That's where I was the last podcast when we recorded, which was a great experience. However, I will say, missed Bali, missed the people, missed because Bali has, especially in Ubud where we love to go, it has this like jungle and also city vibe, where you get kind of like the best of both worlds. You have the nature and you also have the city. But where we were, it's a very small island. There are no gas motorized vehicles whatsoever, just horse and buggy or bike. And so they are starting to like bring in a couple of those like electric scooter type things that don't make any sound or anything, but it's remote, and it doesn't seem like much of a city, and it's not as kind of developed. A lot of dirt roads. Very island. Yeah, let's just call it island life. And but yeah, we missed it. We missed the people. It's mainly it's like an island off the coast of Lombok, which is primarily Muslim. And I think just like culturally, it's a lot different. And it was just like, I feel like with the Balinese people, it's a different vibe. Right. So we totally enjoyed it. I'm not saying anything bad about the island. I'm just saying, like, when we were comparing the experience from Gili T to Bali, it was like Bali felt way more like home. Way more like home.
We talked about the little bit of a rough ferry ride over there.
Oh, well, the ferry ride is about a 2-hour ferry ride, and you're like in the, I don't even know what to call that. The undercarriage of the boat.
Basement.
Yeah. Like you're under, so, and you get these tiny little windows that don't even open, and it's hot leather seats, and it's so hot in there. It is so hot. I guess there used to be air conditioning because they have the air conditioning vents, but nothing's coming out of there. But luckily I had my hand fan, and I could see people like eyeing me, being like, oh man, I wish I was sitting next to her, because I would get like a little bit of the breeze. But yeah. But also when we got back to Bali after we visited there, that was the eclipse day, and that was really great and fun because we got to go to the family compound of our friend Koman and Booty. And so while we were there, we got to with the kids that were there, we got to use the different ways to safely watch the eclipse. So there's this trick that you crisscross your fingers, kind of like a waffle, a waffle type of pattern. like a waffle fry. And then you hold it up, and then it actually shows on in the little, in between the shadows of your fingers, it shows the crescent moon shape of what's going on in the eclipse. And that was very cool because also what we saw is through the shadows of the trees, you could see these little crescents, which I thought was also very cool. So it's a projection of what's going on in the sky. And that was just so symbolic at the same time, because it's like things are projected. There we go. Like not only like, human to human or, situation to situation, it's all interconnected. Right. And so we got to do that and see the eclipse, and then made the 26-hour flight back home. And that was yesterday. And here we are. The jet lag is not as bad as it has been in previous years. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very grateful for that. I don't know what it is.
I agree. The last time I remember, which is 4 years ago, was 2 weeks, a solid 2 weeks. And I think I might have just was able to adjust, although here I am at 3:00 in the afternoon in my pajamas.
It's your day off.
No problem. I was adjusting just fine within the first 2 or 3 days. So,
yeah, it wasn't so bad. I went to my friend's new baby's baptism, and that was wonderful and beautiful to be a part of. And now, yeah, I feel like my body feels like it's at least pretty close to the actual time that's going on here. So I'm feeling very grateful for that. So I know you have some updates. So
my update is, I was talking about Saturday, April 29th, when this Mars sextiling Uranus, which is, make an offer of a personal contribution. And I think that's the day that my mom will be coming home from the hospital, that I have, I mean, if I say the word volunteer, no, that I have agreed to go and be available for my mom when she comes out of the hospital, because she was going down the stairs a week ago-ish and got to the bottom of the stairs and fell down. Only not because she misplaced her foot, but because her leg wouldn't hold her up. And they took her to the emergency room, and sure enough, she has a fracture of her pelvis.
Ouch.
And so she's rehabbing beautifully. My brother went in for a couple of days, my sisters, and of course, they don't want her. Nobody wants to be in the hospital by themselves at 91. And so that I'll be there for mom when she comes home from the hospital. So it'll be nice. It'll be nice getting her used to some of the physical therapy that she needs, because she's willing and ready and able to, make amends and to get back up onto the horse, if you will, to continue her work. She's got a job. She's got her orders. I'm sure I'll be doing some of that. So really to take a turn at what you thought you were doing. And, I'm laughing because I'm still in my pajamas. I'm going to be here until the morning. But, it's kind of the self-care that the universe has allowed me to just kind of, soak up, because I'll be pretty much on 24 hours.
Yes. And if we know anything about taking care of others, is that you do have to care for yourself as often as you can.
So I'm not upset with myself.
Good. That makes me happy to hear. Any other updates?
No, but I was excited to get some, because I know that I left the big piece of luggage with you, and some of the little gifts I had bought were in there. So I was looking forward to seeing that. And I snuck peeked at it. We'll make an announcement next week for something that we brought home to share with others. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, then I think that's all. That's all. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode. Remember, I am looking forward to hearing your reviews. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, please give us a review if you haven't before. And also You can email me, alex@intentionbeads.com, with any comments. I love to hear them. And that's all for right now.
All righty.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
See everyone soon. Bye.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story